Junction and Asha Homeopathic Academy. Welcome to this very interesting webinar on meditative techniques in case taking by Dr. GUDDI MAKHIJA. So I want to introduce today's speaker. Dr. Makhija is a qualified doctor from Mumbai, and she's a senior homeopath practicing from last many years in Bombay itself. She has also completed her fellowship program from the OtherSong International Academy. She practices homeopathy and also uses the meditative techniques to bring about the long-lasting permanent changes in mind and body. She is a certified teacher from the Theta Healing technique of meditation and belief work from the Think Institute, that means Theta Healing Institute of Knowledge, USA. And she is also a trained facilitator for inner child healing, transgenerational healing, regression work, and she has trained with the world famous masters, Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi, and is volunteering with their Quantum Life University to spread their vision to the world. She says that it's easier to choose less stressful perceptions and attitudes and recreate the flow in our daily routine. And she's also working on how can we access the state of ease to create the inner peace and inner ease. So she has some very interesting and wonderful treasure box of cases which she has treated with homeopathy, and she would be sharing today how she approaches the case, how the meditative techniques help in the homeopathy case taking itself, and for healing modalities she would be sharing her method of dealing with such cases with few examples. I hope you will definitely like this whole webinar of today, and this will give you a unique way of looking at the cases. There will be some new perspectives and new methodologies which you will learn. So I'm very happy to welcome you, Dr. GUDDI. Thank you so much for accepting the invite. We are very grateful to you.
Thank you, Dr. Yamini, Dr. Weber. Wonderful opportunity to learn. I would prefer it to be an interactive session, so that we all get to learn, some questions that can, exercise our mind, and just feel free to ask questions. Okay. So meditative techniques in case taking and homeopathic practice. So I'll give you a short brief about how I got encouraged to explore the meditative technique. So it's a personal history, it's a personal journey. I have two children. My son, my second born, was born in 2004. So in 2005, my daughter was 6 at that time, and I used to take her swimming. At that time, I developed a small eczema because of swimming. It's very common on my foot. But that eczema proceeded to become a very bad cellulitis, which wouldn't heal at all. And I tried everything under the sun: homeopathy, allopathy, Ayurveda. I even took steroids to give me some relief because it was very bad. From my knee to my ankle, it just wouldn't heal. This went on for about 3 years. I would have flare ups, and for time being, it would get. I took some palliative treatment. Again, it would flare up. Then I started exploring. I was always into classical homeopathy. I said that there has to be something more, that I have to learn and I have to explore first to heal myself. Then I came upon Theta Healing. Theta Healing is nothing but just accessing your subconscious mind. It is a journey to self discovery. It's a journey to self discovery. So, after I learned Theta Healing, I went into a very rigorous study for 3 years. So it was 2009, 10, and 11. I qualified as a teacher because I did all their courses, which are available on the Think website. You can explore those. And in this process, I had about 90% recovery, without any medication, but just self exploration and healing. So that encouraged me, and I used to do Theta Healing is a lot about belief work, and I started using that for all my patients. The theta state is a state of slowing down your brain waves so that we can access information. I will come to that later. Because today we are talking about meditative techniques and case taking, Yamini, we can have the next slide. Yamini, you're there? Okay. So the next slide, is what the Buddha says, that we don't have to believe what anybody says except trust our own experience, right? Believe nothing, no matter where you read it or who has said it, not even if I have said it, unless it agrees with your own reason and your own common sense. So as doctors, I believe that we should be skeptical. We must inquire. A thorough self inquiry is so much necessary so that we know that the path that we are going is right. So let us first inquire, what does meditation mean? Yamini, can we have the next slide?
Yeah, can you see it? I have changed the slide.
Yeah. No, it's not visible, Yamini. It's the first slide which is showing.
Okay.
So can we have the next slide?
Now, for me, I have changed the slide. I am able to see this.
Yeah, but it is not visible over here.
Okay. Just a just give me a minute. I will, just stop sharing and
Okay.
start sharing again.
Yeah. So in the meantime, we can speak till Dr. Yamini shares a slide.
Is it visible now?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So let's first talk about meditation. What does meditation mean? People have a lot of views about meditation, that you have to close your eyes and sit. And of course, it does involve closing your eyes and sitting at one place. But people have a different idea, a different notion about meditation. Meditation does not conform to any religion. It's not about any cult. It's not about that. It does just may it only means that putting your attention to something, focusing the mind on a particular object, thought, or activity to train attention or awareness. So the dictionary is a bible for us. I am 49 years old, and we are coming from a time, from black and white TV to color TV, and then to the desktop computer and the laptop. But when we were training as doctors, we were fortunate that there were a lot of great masters who taught us, but we had to, the dictionary was the Bible for us. What we carried to the OPDs was the dictionary. I still remember, how we trained. We were taught to open the dictionary to see what is the meaning of that particular word. you know so I still carry it with me, going to the exact meaning of every word. If when Dr. Jaisha takes a case, he always tells the patient that, now give this symptom your entire attention. Put your mind to it. Give this and focus your attention on this. So give this symptom, this feeling, your entire attention. So that is the meaning of meditation. But what we choose to meditate upon is up to us. Meditation does not mean sannyas. It does not mean leaving everything and becoming a recluse, or calling yourself, yes, that you meditate. No, meditation is actually your journey to explore within, and it's a journey to joy, to happiness, and to bliss. That is actually the real meaning of meditation. Are you all with me? All, everybody is okay with how the flow is going, because we need to understand, the basics about things. If there are any questions, please ask. Yamini, can we have the next slide? Thank you, Ragini Singh ji. Thank you. I will urge you that, during this lockdown, start reading books. You will always come to the right book at the right time. Actually, we are so blessed that we are homeopaths. So we don't face boredom. For everything has a meaning for us. Everything has something to convey to us. So yesterday, Dr. Lakshmi gave a lecture in which she narrated a joke. I will tell you. This is a joke about Mullah Nasruddin. Mullah Nasruddin's wife is just sitting by herself. So Mullah Nasruddin goes to her and tells her, "What happened? तुम्हारा चेहरा क्यों ऐसा पड़ा है? Why are you sitting like that?" So his wife tells him that I am feeling utterly bored sitting like this. So Mullah Nasruddin tells her that if your own company is boring to you, imagine what you must be doing to others, right? So I think a homeopath does not have any issue about boredom. We really enjoy our company, our learnings, and everything, every gesture, every 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 gesture is communicating something to us. you know so it's a great process of being a homeopath, and homeopathy in itself is a spiritual science. So Osho was very futuristic in his thoughts and what he has to convey, but the most misunderstood. But his writings are gems if we read it. So this is the book that I'm talking about. If you get time, read it. Krishna, the man and his philosophy. So there is a lot of question and answer about Krishna's philosophy. Krishna in himself was the master of all teachers for us. So I'll read what Osho has written, about meditation. I'll read that. He writes that this is page 670 of his book. You know, I feel that meditation can be spread throughout the world as a chain reaction. If a person decides to learn meditation himself, and then within a week of his learning, it initiates another person into it, we will cover the whole earth with meditation within 10 years. No greater effort is needed. Then all the lofty things of life that man is heir to but has lost, all be restored to him in 10 years. And then there is no reason why Krishna should not play his flute amongst us once again, why Christ should not come again and again, and why Buddha should not get enlightened under the Bodhi tree over and over again. Not that the same old Krishna or Buddha will be born again, but that in us we have the potentialities of that meditation which can flower into a Krishna, a Buddha, a Christ over and over again. It's so beautiful, no? Especially in these times of Corona where we are in lockdown, we have so much to introspect about. Krishna writes, he tells Arjuna, be immaculately yourself. This is written in the Gita, in the conversations between Krishna and Arjuna. He says that be immaculately yourself. Now, what does that mean? Being immaculately yourself means finding your authentic self, finding your complete self. And my complete self is me and my shadow self together. When I integrate everything, I am authentically complete. I'll come to the shadow self later.
No problem.
Can we have the next slide, Yamini?
Slide changing.
As I said, the journey of the homeopath and the patient is to discover the most authentic self and to integrate that self and to heal. It is so beautiful that we as homeopaths, we are on our personal journey, and when we listen to patients and when we talk to our patients, we are evolving ourselves and we are helping the patient evolve. When we are tools that help the patient to discover themselves, their authentic uh, self. And we have, as homeopath, we have a tool to find that resonance somewhere in the universe, and which will help them to heal.
90.
It will make them whole. When we take the patient on our journey, it is not about discovering everything good that is there. There are a lot of things. There is a lot of masala around us. So uh, just acknowledging what is there, and integrating brings about a lot of healing. Awareness is 50% of cure. Can we have the next slide, Yamini? So, man as a spiritual, mental, and physical being, because WHO has also added the word spiritual to the definition of health. So, health is complete spiritual, mental, emotional, physical well-being, as described by WHO. And in Hinduism, the Hindus believe that the life principle, the Atma that they say, the soul, it resides in the body. And as homeopaths, we know that it is the vital force which is akin to the soul principle. Can we have the next slide, Yamini? As aphorism 9 of Organon of Medicine says, in the healthy condition of man, the spiritual vital force, the dynamis that animates the material body, rules with unbounded sway and retains all the parts of the organism in admirable, harmonious, vital operation as regards both sensation and function, so that our indwelling reason gifted mind can freely employ this living instrument, living healthy instrument for higher purpose of our existence. See, these words are so beautifully put by Dr. Hahnemann. We are so thankful to him to give us this most gentle system of medicine, and we are so blessed that we are practicing this in life. It has given us tools to evolve ourselves and to help in the evolution of mankind. Now, higher purpose of our existence. Once we are healthy within, we experience that freedom where we want to extend ourselves to the service of humanity. you know. And homeopathy is one such beautiful aid, for the upliftment of humanity. And once we get aligned to this higher purpose of our existence, that is health. That that person is healthy. Can we have the next slide? So this we all know that the homeopathy believes mind and body are affected simultaneously, and always the problems lie at a more deeper level, which is the vital level, and it is the vital level, the level of the source, where homeopathy affects the cure. The level of the source, if you if you listen how the great teachers take their cases. I had the good fortune of being with Dr. Divya in her initial years, and how she comes to the source of the remedy, in the patient, in the language of the patient. How beautifully we find a resonance in nature. Can we have the next slide? Any questions up to now? Yamini, any questions from the participants? Or we can proceed further. Okay, now a walk through the human mind. Now the scientific aspect of meditation, which is so important. So, how is the mind differentiated? It is compartmentalized. So, we have on one front, we have the conscious, and then we have the subconscious and the unconscious. And the conscious mind is about, Vina Stable writes that the conscious mind is about 12%. And the rest is the subconscious and the unconscious. The conscious mind is, everything that we consciously use. In the conscious mind, also, actually, on a day to day basis, if we are not mindful, we are using only 3% of, of our conscious mind. And the rest is subconscious and unconscious. So, conscious is everything that we do consciously. All the voluntary movements of our hands, extremities, anything is the conscious mind. In the subconscious and the unconscious, we have our autonomic nervous system, which automatically governs the working of the pituitary gland, the heartbeat, and everything that comes in the autonomic nervous system. That is why, consciously, if we are scared, we know the fear and flight response that we have starts getting activated, the pulse rate goes high, and we feel like sinking, etc., etc. So we know that the actual governing is by the subconscious and the unconscious. The next slide. So if we see that how we compare the human mind. So we say that the human mind, the mind is like a ship, and the captain is the conscious. We feel that the captain gives the orders, and it navigates the ship, but the actual work is done by the crew, and this crew is the subconscious. The actual work is done by the subconscious mind, while the captain is he consciously gives orders, but the actual working is done by the crew, which is the subconscious mind. So let us now learn more about the brain waves. What are we actually doing in meditation? So scientifically, we have to understand the brain waves. So there are 5 different brain waves. So now when I am talking to you, I am delivering a lecture, I'm communicating. So I'm active, I'm alert, and I am in the beta brainwave. So the brainwave frequency is 14 to 28 cycles per second. When I tend to relax a little bit, for example, if you go to the beach and just watch the seashore, or you go to a garden and just observe, sit under the tree reading a book, or you just want to sit and relax. You want to listen to some music, you want to watch a sunset. At that time, the brain wave slows down a little. That is the alpha brain wave, which is the bridge between the beta and the theta brain wave, little slower, and it has a frequency of 7 to 14 cycles per second. So, alpha brain waves govern daydreaming, fantasizing, and relaxed, detached awareness. Next slide. Now, after the alpha, we have the theta brainwave. So, the theta brainwave is slowing down of the brainwaves a little more. The most common example of a theta brainwave is when I just wake up in the morning, my eyes are closed, but I'm alert. Somebody's woken up outside, there's a noise somewhere, someone is talking, but I am sleeping. At that time, my brainwave is in theta. You know, there's a very common saying which goes that सुबह का सपना सच होता है. See, these are not just things that have come out just like that. They have meaning in it. Subah ka sap, because the theta brainwave is your subconscious mind. It holds a whole collective consciousness. You know, it is the purest form of you. So the theta brainwaves can be thought as the subconscious. They hold memories and sensations. They govern our attitude, belief, and our behaviors. And they are creative, inspirational, and characterized by very spiritual sensations. So when we are actually meditating, is the time when we slow down our theta brain waves, and we are actually accessing the subconscious mind. So when we work with meditation, when we work with when we take the patient slowly into a state of complete relaxation, don't expect that the patient is just going to go and sleep. No, the patient is completely aware, but he is able to access that big treasure of his mind, the subconscious mind. A.R. Rahman meditates for 3 hours before he goes in his music studio. And no wonder, whatever he creates is out of the world. So somewhere he is accessing his highest potential. And all of us can do that, and we can help. That's the tool with which we can help our patient. Can we have the next slide? So the next brain waves which are there are gamma and delta. So gamma brainwave is the state when we learn and process information. The most ideal example of a gamma brainwave is when we are writing an exam. We our brain waves are really fluctuating. We are trying to remember something, we are processing that information, we want to go and okay, this was taught in that lecture, and let me just remember, and I'm reproducing that information on paper. So my brain waves are fluctuating between 40 and 50,000 cycles per second. So that is the gamma brainwave. The next slide. And the delta brainwave is the state of unconscious where I am in deep sleep. So when I am in deep sleep, my brain waves are in delta brain. So now meditation has its own benefits. The biggest benefit is that this deep state of rest, which is achieved by putting the mind to silence, to quiet, that we release a lot of hormones, the neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins, which make us really feel good because they are all uh, linked to different aspects of happiness. We all know that, we know the functions of dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and all. Okay. Next slide. So when they did a survey, they found out that the theta brainwaves were most abundant in the frontal and middle parts of the brain, and all these types of waves likely originate from a relaxed attention that monitors our inner experience. So when we meditate, it does not mean that we will not have any thoughts. We will definitely have thoughts. We will experience thoughts. But gradually, we will master the art of having a thoughtless mind. And it is so important. So we create that space when we become thoughtless. We create that space in our clinic when we when the patients talk to us, then we mirror. A thoughtless mind is an empty mind, and an empty mind will mirror what the patient is telling you. You will actually resonate at a one-to-one level and receive what the patient is letting you know, what that patient is allowing you to know. Next slide, please. So we were at the theta brainwave and the subconscious mind. So what happens is when we work with the theta brainwave, we can unlearn a lot of things. So when we unlearn a lot of things, we create a room for a change. So I'll tell you a lot of things don't work. Like for example, when people tell you that I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to lose weight, but they don't lose weight. They use affirmations that I am ready to lose weight, and etc etc. But affirmations don't work, because anything which is working at the conscious mind does not help to create a change. But when we access all the belief systems, I'll come to that, which are lying in the subconscious. I think these are in homeopathy. There would be like delusions, deep seated, for which there is no explanation. These are programs that we have formed. So we will come in detail to that. So when we unlearn and learn, so this brainwave pattern is open to receiving and accepting new information. Next slide, Yamini. So the subconscious is actually a miracle working power. So it guides us to names, facts, and scenes from the storehouse of memory. Even the universe is a collective consciousness. When we meditate, you know, we actually access that collective consciousness to guide us, to give us answers. You know, as a student, we would do these experiments with Dr. Shankaran. We would go to his clinic, and you know, one doctor used to sit out. He was not in touch with the patient or the history being spoken inside the cabin, and that person would be out, just lying there with the eyes closed. And as the history was being spoken inside, there would be some images which would come up outside, and sometimes remedy names, sometimes indications of a particular remedy. So I remember so well. There was one case which was going on inside, and I was out, and I just felt that there are many soldiers who are trying to break into a fort. They're trying to break in. So inside, sir had prescribed natrum mute, which was so beautiful, which explains everything, that how an attribute is reserved, and how imprisoned feeling. And it was a beautiful case, just a small example. So this was about 30 years back. So the subconscious is a storage room of everything that is currently not in your conscious mind. And it stores all your previous life experiences, beliefs, memories, your skills, all situations you have been through, and all images you have ever seen. The next slide. So, what controls biology? I'm a great fan of Dr. Bruce Lipton. He is a cellular microbiologist. He has done a lot of work on cell biology and how the cell biology responds to thoughts and responds to meditation. So, Dr. Bruce Lipton had done this human genome project in 2009. So that has been like kind of path breaking. What experiment they did was they took out a cell and they enucleated a cell. We know that uh, the nucleus in the cell is like the brain to the human being. If the brain is taken out, we are lifeless, we are brain dead. Same applies to the nucleus. If a cell is enucleated, so we know, the common understanding is that the cell will die. But what he saw was that there is no change in the function of the cell, even if the nucleus is taken out from the cell. Can we have the next slide, Yamini? So he says that no, we know that all the genetic material is in the nucleus because the cell anyway is 99.9% empty. In that, 0.1% is the nucleus, and the remaining is all empty. So, this genetic material, even if it is not there, there is no alteration in the cell. So, even after removing the nucleus, the cell lives and does all its function. So, Dr. Lipton says next slide that we are not a victim of our genes. He says that the genes do not create biology. So that is where the science of epigenetics comes in. That even after a child is born, the mother and the child are linked by DNA. So even after the child is born, if the mother chooses to work on herself, there the automatic transmission to the changes in the DNA happens in the child. And I will vouch for this. Why? Because when I developed an eczema, my son also developed an eczema. He was one at that time. And when I got healed, my son also healed completely. He recovered very, very fast after I started doing Theta Healing. By the end I finished, he was absolutely okay. And so please read, authored by Dr. Bruce Lipton. He has a lot of videos on the net, and he's on Facebook. And nowadays in the lockdown period, he's sharing videos every day. He's a vast ocean of knowledge. Just go and get this information. The next slide. So the science of epigenetics is also great, and I feel that although our research is lacking, as homeopaths, as when we give the constitutional medicine, we are healing a line. We are healing the person's next generation also. So Dr. Bruce Lipton says that it is not the nuclear, but it is the perception of the environment that controls the cells. I've read his book. So he says that the head of the cell is not the nucleus, but it's the cell membrane. The cell membrane. So if we create an analogy, the cell membrane is like a boundary. So it is what we allow inside and what we don't let out. So that controls the cells. And beliefs select our genes, and beliefs select our behavior. We are victim of heredity. As we inherit genes is just a belief. So the new theory is that we are not victims of our genes. We can create change. So when we use this meditative techniques, we create new neurovascular bundles. We create new nerve openings in our brain. Can we have the next slide? Now, what is this belief work? Now, belief is something that we feel is true, without anything to support it. For example, there are beliefs that come from our conditioning as a child. Whatever we are told, whatever we experience while growing up, in our growing formative years, we form those kind of beliefs. Then there are beliefs related to genders. The male genders carry certain beliefs, the female genders carry certain beliefs. There are beliefs, which are so deep rooted in our cultures. There are beliefs which organizations carry. There are beliefs which countries carry. We have beliefs at a cultural level. No, I'll give you small examples about beliefs that, if a man, he puts on weight, he develops a paunch. Soon when he catches up with his friends, they will first stroke his paunch and tell him that, "Arey, you बहुत पैसा kamata hai, you have become prosperous." So this paunch is linked to prosperity. If you choose to lose weight, if a child loses weight, you go to the garden and some auntie will tell you, क्या तुम्हारी मम्मी तुमको खाना नहीं खिलाती क्या, तुम्हारा वजन कम हो गया है. So this is our conditioning. This is how we are conditioned. And it is so beautifully explained in the personal evolution model, in the 6th column, where the female gender experiences all hormonal issues. Because you want to step into the shoes, you want to think like a man, you want to feel like a man. And then we know that all the hormone issues start coming up. The polycystic ovaries, where you are in complete denial of the feminine element in you. You don't want to integrate it, you want to think like a man. So those are the beliefs, the conditioning which is happening. Then there are beliefs, there are cultural beliefs. For India, it is a belief that people have. India is a spiritual country. They say that the West is left-brained and the East is right-brained. So these are all these beliefs. Then there are organizational beliefs. What comes to your mind when the Tata group comes to your mind? Tata, it is, the analogy is Tata. The first words that reflect into you is integrity, honesty. So these are the beliefs that the organization has formed. So these are deep rooted. So all these beliefs lie in our subconscious mind. They have formed over a period of time. So, this is a simple explanation that can give, if we look at our mind as a garden, we are planting thoughts every day. These thoughts are like seeds. We are planting every day. And these seeds grow roots. And these roots are the references. So every belief starts out as an idea. And the only difference between an idea and a belief is the quantity of references. An idea is not so deep rooted, but every belief starts out as an idea. But there is a difference. Can we have the next slide? So when we plant this idea in the garden, it starts looking for references. For example, the simplest example is, there is this girl child and the mother tells her, she projects, I will not say tell, but she projects on this girl child that, okay, you are so beautiful, you are such a good girl, you are so prim and proper. So this idea, then she starts looking for these references. So when she goes to school, she's absolutely prim and proper. She's the perfect child. And I as time goes, she's not a child anymore because a child has to be childlike. But her references that she has created is of an adult. She ceases to be a child. She is perfect, so that in school, the teacher has nothing to complain. She is prim and proper. Her notes are completed. Her notebook is perfect. She's absolutely neat when she comes to. There is no complaint on the blackboard. Nobody complains for her. She's a perfect child. But is she healthy? Right? So as the plant reaches out to the light, it becomes strong and bears fruit. So this fruit is the result of the belief that bears strong roots in the garden of your mind. So her strong belief that she has formed is completely that I am perfect. I am prim and proper. Because this seed was sowed into her by the immediate family. So this is a very small basic example. Other things, maybe you are useless. You know, a child may be told repeatedly that when you are useless, useless, useless. So the child starts believing that, okay, I am no good. See, there are four reactions that happen. There is this one father who has four sons. So the father keeps telling all his sons that, you are useless, 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 useless. So this first son says that, okay, my father says that I am useless, so I am useless. He says that, okay, I am useless. The second son takes the opposite route. He says that you are telling me that I am useless. Okay, I'll show you that how good I am. So he uses it for his benefit and he is a super achiever. Okay. The third one says that, I don't care whether you tell me useless. I have a free will that I will do what I want. So one is said that he is useless, he becomes useless. The third, the second says that, okay, you tell me useless, I am a super achiever. And the third one, he takes a middle path. It's a path of free will where he does not let his father's work sink into him. So this is how we are forming our own beliefs. So the fruit is the result of the belief that bears strong roots in the garden of your mind. Can we have the next slide? Yeah. So one feels that knowledge and desire having the willpower can lead to change, but applying willpower that conflicts with our limiting belief can actually lead to illness. When we say that we force ourselves that we want, I want to do this, I want to do this, but it doesn't happen. So your conscious and your subconscious comes into a conflict with your limiting beliefs and can actually lead to illness. So one can reprogram the subconscious mind to erase the limiting beliefs and bring about change. And one way to erase the limiting belief system is bring it into awareness. And we as homeopaths have the tools, we find something in resonance in nature with this limiting belief system to bring about a profound healing in the patient. The next slide. So what we do in a meditative process is that we access the subconscious mind and we uncover the core beliefs and then we find the resonance. It is so simple. Till uncovering the core beliefs, but we as homeopaths have one more tool is to find the resonance. So any questions up to now? Any questions, dear friends?
No
So
questions. I
chanting
can't
Krishna.
see any questions till now.
Okay, okay. So we'll move ahead. I thought, more than teaching you the remedies, the methodology that we are using is so important. Once we know the methodology, the basic about how we go about, then everything is there, in the books, and we can read. Can we have the next slide? So, the mind is like a computer, you know. So the subconscious is like the RAM in your computer. So all programs and data that are currently not in use are kept that so that they can be reached. Simple. And the unconscious is like the hard disk, long-term storage place for all your memories and programs that have been installed at birth. Sorry for the spelling mistakes that are there. So one can reprogram the subconscious mind to erase these limiting beliefs and bring about change. Once we know that this is my limiting belief, I can bring about a change. So the next we will come to shadow emotions. So what are shadow emotions? Everything about me is not good. I have a side of me which I resist, which I don't want to see, and sometimes I don't even want to acknowledge. I want to deny, because that side of me it can threaten my survival, or it can be bad, it can be shameful, it can be unattractive, and it contradicts my theory about my self image. So, this is all what my shadow is. So, Carl Jung had coined this term, the shadow side, which is also a side. And denial or repression of my shadow emotions actually causes illness in me. Like some of the shadow emotions that I've shown is, self pity and anxiety, neediness, panic, jealousy, anger, rage, etc. So all these are shadow emotions. When I am in denial, when I don't want to integrate that part of into me. And what is this whole journey of meditation is all about becoming whole. It is all about integrating my shadow side within me. So it is like, the sum of plus and minus is zero, right? Yeah, when I integrate, it is zeros. I am whole. So it is all, the journey is about being complete. So it is all about being integrated totally. There were some questions that reflected on the screen. Should we address them, Yamini?
Yes. Or else we can take it in the last,
In the end? Okay.
in the
Okay.
end. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We will come back to question answer. Okay. So what is a meditative case taking is embracing and releasing these shadow emotions for physical, emotional, and spiritual health. I think we have explained that well, that as it is so simple that whatever we are denying, we are refusing to integrate in ourselves is causing us illness. Can we have the next slide? A little bit about projection, that and whatever is about us, whatever we are not willing to look at in ourselves is projected in our relationships. Now, what does that mean? So all relationships are our mirrors. We project all that what exists in us, and the shadow material continues to be mirrored back. So whatever is triggering, whatever about the other person creates a trigger in us, is actually what exists in us. So we project onto our relationship. So very often, what how I learned was when the our teachers, our masters used to ask the patient, what is it that you don't like about her? Very often patients come and tell us that I don't like this. So when we say what we don't like about the other person, the very thing exists in us, which we refuse to see. So all relationships are our mirrors. So we project all that, and that is also our shadow side. When we judge, whatever we judge in the other exists in us. So the shadow material continues to be mirrored back. And once we start recognizing that, we integrate that, we become more and more clear. We evolve as homeopaths, and we help our patients evolve, because the entire journey of humanity is to evolve. That is why something like a coronavirus has occurred, come into our lives, that it is giving us a chance to explore. It is giving us a chance to see, nothing in life is by chance. Today, if we are discussing this at this platform with so many participants, so it is meant to be. It is giving us a chance. It is giving us an opportunity to really, evolve. As a whole, the entire humanity is at the brink of, something greater, something better, which is going to come. Can we have our next slide? So expanded acceptance of ourselves allows us to move into a more expanded acceptance of others. The line itself is self-explanatory. So the expanded acceptance of ourselves allows us to move into a more expanded acceptance of others. The next slide. So, very nicely, Dr. Mahesh Gandhi has put in his book, Personal Evolution Model, that evolutionary lessons, that what are the issues a particular person is mastering. What are the natural gifts he was born with? What has he come on this earth to possibly learn? What will make him fulfilled in his life, and how we can help him in this process? Very profound questions, because the answers are going to be right from your deep self. These answers will not come from the superficial self. These answers lie very, very deep within you. One book that I will recommend you to read is Life Between Lives by Dr. Michael Newton. And Dr. Newton Kundavati conducts this workshop, which is Life Between Life, which is all about our evolutionary lessons. See, very often everybody is at a different stage of evolution. We respect that fact that everybody is mastering certain lessons, and it is so well put in homeopathy. Like, we know the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the animal kingdom. It is Life Between Life, Dr. Jayanam. Life Between Lives by Dr. Michael Newton. So, yes. So we are talking about evolutionary lessons. Where was I?
About these questions and the lessons in evolution.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So in homeopathy, we know that, the mineral kingdom is not so sensitive, and the issues are circulating around structure. We know that, the plant kingdom is a little more sensitive. a little more conscious than the the mineral kingdom. And the animal kingdom, we know that the journey is more evolved. We know that the animal kingdom is mastering relationships, me versus you. There are, it is more profound. The mammals are more evolved than the invertebrates. The vertebrates are more evolved. So everybody is in a stage of evolution. So even in the human psyche, everyone is in a different stage of evolution. And this is so beautifully put. Mikhail Yakir and Dr. Mahesh Gandhi, we must be so grateful to them. Jan Scholten, so beautifully they are teaching us that everything is in a process of evolution. And I think when we start, when a homeopath starts practicing mindfully, everything, it is such a great opportunity to evolve oneself. It is such a beautiful journey. The next slide, please. Yeah, so it is actually, the homeopath is on a journey of self-discovery and self-actualization and aligning to our higher purpose. We have no regrets in becoming homeopaths, and I think the corona also has given the world a chance to see what homeopathy can do. Because it's the major forerunner in these times. So it's a great opportunity. Yes, Dr. Weber. So I am very thankful to Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi, because they have brought in so much awareness in me, and I thought this slide is ideal. That you are a source being. The ultimate truth is the source is not outside of you. You are a source being, and be a source being unto yourself. Be a light unto yourself, and be a source of creativity unto yourself. So, such beautiful words. And we know Abraham Maslow's 40 writes that growth must be chosen again and again, and fear be overcome again and again. Very beautiful lines. So we'll come to cases. I think before we start our cases, how long do we have, Yamini? How much time do we have?
In this minute, we have 4 minutes in this meeting.
And okay, and the next?
Next, we can rejoin with the same link. Then we'll have another 40 minutes.
Okay. You want to hear me for another 40 minutes?
Yes.
Yes. So, meantime, shall I address one question? Then we will go to cases after this.
Yeah, sure.
So, any one question we can address, Yamini, before we join again?
Yeah, just a second. I will read the.
Yeah.
So there are two questions actually. One is,
Yeah.
when we are emotional and sad, which wave is active and how to control it?
Yeah. So, this is a good question because it's a day-to-day question. We're all emotional all the time, and we are active also. But it is good to find out the reasons behind our emotions, the causes that make us emotional. To be emotional is human. you
Okay.
know if those emotions are not serving us any purpose, it is so important to ask yourself, how is this particular emotion serving you? What good is it doing to you, this particular emotion?
Mm-hmm.
It is so beautiful if we see the victim perpetrator cycle. A victim is also a perpetrator, and a perpetrator is also a victim. Person may feel victimized, but if you see the other side, polarity always exists in a person. So, why does one play a victim? And there's nothing like control. Controlling the conscious mind, as I said, leads to illness. It is better that we uncover what is lying behind those emotions. As homeopathy says, treat the cause, don't treat the symptom. So we have to treat the cause. I think that answers the question.
Yes. And one more. Can we take this?
Thank you,
So,
Ragini. Yes,
yes. And this next question is from Samiksha, and she's asking that what we have to do in meditation, how can we meditate, what is the ideal process?
see, the simple thing for starters is to become aware of your breath. The Anapanasati meditation, you know. Simple thing is to become aware of your breath. Breath awareness, your in breath and your out breath. Just stay aligned to your breath because your breath is life. Breath is the source from where your first heartbeat started after you were born. It was a cry. It was a cry to breathe. See, when we are upset, if a child is very hurt, he's crying, what do we tell the child? Calm down, breathe, just breathe. So just aligning to your breath, at any time. Even Dr. Ragini, you can try this anytime you feel very emotional, you feel surcharged, the extra emotions, charging you. Just take your time, sit at a place, state of complete clarity. You will come to that. It will happen with time. You have to trust the process and be with the process and be very courageous and start. So I think that answers your question, Doctor. Thank you, Samiksha. So now I will share a few cases that I have worked upon. I don't have any video cases because very often the patients don't want to be videoed when they are doing very intense sessions. Okay, so I'll share this case with you. This lady came to me postpartum. She had delivered a girl about 6 weeks back. Of course, I know her entire family. Her son was about 9 or 10 years old. Her daughter was born after a huge gap between both of them. And I was treating her son, I was treating her sister in law and her mother in law. So I knew the entire family. So, some basic I'll give you about the family. The family was very orthodox and she was quite suppressed. This is all that I could make out of it. And one day after delivering her daughter was about 6 weeks, and she called me up and she said that I want to meet you, it's urgent, and I have to see you today. So I said, okay. And then she shared her delivery history with me that her daughter was born, the LSCS was done, and there was cord entanglement. And she had an older son, aged 9, and the daughter was conceived accidentally, but then they decided to continue the pregnancy. Now, I'll see, this is the basic that she told me. And all these years that I was treating the extended family, this lady was very reserved. She never shared a lot with me about, of course, I knew the dynamics of the family, but she never volunteered to share anything. And when she came after the delivering the girl, she was in a very bad state. And so I thought I will guide her into a process. Can I have the next slide? So I'll narrate what she told you. I put her in a state of, relaxation. Can I have the next slide? As she shut her eyes and she started, She just relaxed completely and then she started talking. She had tears and tears were rolling. I'm getting lot of negative thoughts. I cannot stop myself from crying. I get lot of palpitations, especially when I lie down to rest in the afternoon. I get anxious for many things. My sister has a brain tumor and is bedridden. I feel very worried for her. I am very worried for my parents who are old. These are all her symptoms of her state. The next slide. My sister bedridden and my husband has to do and my mother has to do everything for her. Her husband left her with us 2 years back. So this history I know because this sister was married, but she had a chronic back problem and a faulty operation which went all wrong and she was bedridden. And so her husband's family could not take care of her, so they left her with this girl's mother. But the brother is older, he's unmarried, so entire responsibility of the house is on my mother. And I'm worried about my mother also. What will happen to my baby? I am sick and crying and I can't take proper care. Who will look after her? So this is, as she went into relaxation, she gave all this. Then I took her a little deeper, her deeper feelings. Then there when she, this I'm narrating very fast, but it doesn't happen so fast in a meditative case taking. It takes time. So you have to create that time and space for the patient, for them to feel comfortable and share with us. So she said that, that can I have the previous slide? Previous? Yes. So she shared that I'm worried about my daughter also. What will happen to my baby when I'm sick and crying and can't take proper care? Who will look after her? So, but this she shared, she has never shared about how her mother in law treats her. But I'm aware of the dynamics in the family and I know that she's not treated very well by the family. One, because the entire family of chartered accountants and she is not that qualified. She chooses to stay at home and a very dominating family. Here she goes as she speaks about her fears. So beautifully she came to her deep fears that, when my daughter grows older, will I be there? Can the next slide? My daughter has a wheatish complexion. This also, the husband is very, very fair and very good looking. And the entire family, all very fair, very blonde type, golden hair. But the daughter is born with a wheatish complexion. So my husband and son are very fair, and so there is comparison. I feel, will she get married in a good family? And these are all her fears which are coming out as she goes into that deep state. All fears. Imagine just 6 weeks, LSCS, she is anxious and she is not so good. And here, all her deep fears that, will she get married? The daughter who is 6 weeks old, will she get married in a good family? Everybody keeps comparing both of them. So, actually, if you go to see, she's talking about her own state. She's projecting her own state to her daughter. The comparisons were somewhere deep, due to her deep conditioning she must have experienced as a child, in her family, you know. So all these are things which are coming out from her subconscious. Today I am crying since morning. If my daughter cries, I start crying. My in-laws have gone out since morning and I am feeling completely alone. Fear when nobody is there. If someone is around, I feel good, especially mother in law, because there's no one else in the house. Mother in law, husband, and children. And I feel very angry with my husband. This is the first time in so many years that she shared this with me. Even when I used to ask her the son's history and things at home and trying to look into the dynamics of the family, she never shared about her own anger with the husband. I feel that he does nothing for my children and the house. Can I have the next slide? He recently bought a new office, he has furnished it, and we don't even have an AC at home. So, she feels that she's not treated well. I feel I deserve to live well. When he can have such a posh office, why he has kept us like this? I mean, so this is all the anger that she has, which is coming out. I worry about my son's studies at home. He is average in his studies. At home, all are well qualified. I feel very guilty if he does not study. I don't have to ask any questions in between. She just went into the flow and I asked her all that what is coming up. I didn't want to question her. Deep down, I know it is her state. She has some deep seated inner child wounds which are there when she was a child, which she is projecting after childbirth, after her child is born, you know, and all the repressed anger towards. If you see, I spoke about beliefs, I spoke about social conditioning. So these are some beliefs that she is carrying as a woman. She's so repressed, you know and her deep seated feelings, we will just pay all attention to all the words that she says, that at home all are well qualified. I feel guilty if he does not study. If the son does not study, the mother is feeling guilty, and I don't feel happy when he's watching TV. Constant thoughts about future and my child. Can I have the next slide? And I regret a lot about giving birth to my daughter because she's a girl child. Actually, all the fears have stemmed up from her underlying belief system of being a woman, in this house. And if I lie down, then palpitation starts, and she starts again weeping. She's crying a lot. So what all, I would like this to have don't come to the next slide, Yamini. We would like to have an interaction, what the viewers are feeling about this case. Can we have some feedback, that what do you feel about this case? Even you could type some answers, some views about what you have about this case. Insecurities and inferiority complex, a sepia state, comparison feeling that she has. She has no creative mind, weeping disposition, mentally very unstable. We know that she is undergoing through postpartum depression, a despised feeling, very sensitive, anxiety about children and what will happen, lactaninum. What more? If we, as I said, we pay attention to the words, what she says. So, what are the words, Yes, what are the words that she talks about? If I have to repertorize this case, if I have to take into account her core feelings, her deep seated place. Thank you, Dr. Upma. So well she has put it, guilt and anxiety and sadness. There is apprehension about the future. Yes, guilt and regret. Fear that her daughter will also suffer the same. So, anything in the evolution model that is coming up for you, if we have to study in the evolutionary approach, anything that is coming up, she wants support. Yes. So what are the rubrics that we are looking at? So we'll come to the rubrics. Now we can have the next slide. The key issues, So it has to do with nurturing. And she feels excessive responsibility. Yes, Dr. Benita, her inner child needs to resolve. Thank you. Excessive responsibility, yes, and attachment, support, and existential insecurity and hormonal issues. Pardon the spelling mistakes which are there. Yeah, so you all agree with me that these are the key issues which are there with her. Can we have the next slide? So we come to the tribulal family, So it is column 4 and row 6. So I will read you something from Yakir's book. I don't know whether all of you have this book, but let's read about the issues of the fourth column, which are there. So let us see what Yakir has to say. Yeah. So what are the fourth column themes? So nurture and maturation, attaining equilibrium with the feminine, sustaining, giving, nurturing, or receiving without losing oneself. Excessive responsibility within the family, and maturity in immediate family relations. Attached and detached, premature disconnection, and trust and mistrust, digestive issues, and the hormonal issues. Yeah. So, any clue about what the remedy could be? Can we have the next slide? So this is how I have analyzed the case. She has lot of thoughts about the future. Thank you, Dr. Kyle. So there's anxiety of conscience, anxiety of duty as if he had not done his duty, anxiety about future, duty not done. Can we have the next slide? Delusion, troubles, great troubles have come over him. Responsibility too strong. Sadness with weeping and thinking disagreeable things about, and thoughts persistent about the future. Next slide. And in generalities, lying during bed and thoughts profound about the future. So, right, the remedy I prescribed was cyclamen to her. So, cyclamen is prone to intense feelings of guilt and regret, especially in regard to neglected duty. These patients also are depressed and weepy, desiring to be alone. They suffer from apprehension, weak nerves, and anxious care for others. The chest feels oppressed and weak, and there is deep reaching pressure in the region of the sternum. Reproaches himself. The next slide. So, delusion, she has neglected her duty and inclined to tears and silent grief. The remedy which was prescribed was cyclamen, and she did very well. Within a day she recovered and the palpitation went down. Then after some time again she came up with the same state of depression and guilt. Her parents were not so well and she felt that she cannot do much for them. So we stepped up the potency after that. Can we have the next slide? And she was given a dose of 10 and after that she was okay. Her father-in-law passed away, but she could handle that situation and we didn't need to give her a repetition. And she was out of this postpartum depression. And she and her family on and off keep coming as and when to meet me. But she is doing very well. She didn't require any medication after that. She was completely okay. And her perspective of looking at life had changed. Her feeling of guilt had reduced and she was doing very well after that. So, any questions on this case? Yeah, so Dr. Upma, in 2016, I was fresh in using the personal evolution model. So what I did is I came to the column and I I decided that this is the column, and on the patient state, I knew that it is not in the early rows and she is not into the later rows also. So depending on that, with her rubrics, honestly, I came to cyclamen. And today when I look back, I know that, cyclamen is in the adolescent state, of premulacy. So, basically, her feelings of guilt is what helped me to uh, come to cyclamen. If I would not use the personal evolution model, the VP state that she was in, and of course the case taking helped me to uncover these feelings of guilt which were there, these deep seated feelings of guilt and anxiety of future which are there. And after that, when I read cyclamen from her notes, is that I decided that she needs cyclamen. Mm. Because if you take nurturing and feelings of responsibility, feeling of guilt, I think cyclamen just stands out. Today I understand the personal evolution model much better than what I did in 2016. So at that time, maybe I would read each and every remedy of that entire row which was there, or the column which was there. Once I came to the column, so I would read each and every remedy and then choose. Yeah. So any other questions? So I'll read a stanza of cyclamen from what Dr. Yake writes is, you know, guilt feelings regarding the family as a distortion of the column's characteristic sense of responsibility, as if neglected her responsibilities. It is unlike Autumn's guilt, but rather like the mother who feels responsible for a family's well-being. I think this stood out so it was stark staring at the face in this patient. There's a dark secret in the family and she takes responsibility for it. An overly worried mother who feels that the whole family and home depends solely on her. Anxieties about deformities in the newborn. And they may feel constantly blamed, hmm, feels mistreated always, blaming others and saying that it's not fair. Uh, Over responsible women and anorexia, bulimia. So I think that stanza that she writes about cyclamen is all that. I think autumn is more like a the King series, and autumn is not more of self and family. And autumn extends, or you can feel the gravity of an autumn patient. He's King series. This patient had a lot to do with nurturing and responsibility, but for the family, for the child. So, any more questions regarding this patient? So to differentiate from CPR is indifferent. CPR is in a state of lethargy. CPR is indifferent. She's worn down completely. So can we have the next case? Any other questions? Any other questions? So these are my old cases, who are following up. I still get to see them. That's why I chosen to share these cases. So this is another case of this girl. I used to treat her when she was very small. When she was 3, 4 in her school going years, and when she was okay, she had stopped. But at that time, I used to treat her with Maxulf as a child. She had some issues of cold and dandruff in her hair, and then she was better with Maxulf, and then they stopped following up. She again came to me when she was 19 years old. A small history about this patient is that uh, her complaint was severe hair fall and irregular menstruation. I had presented this case in my fellowship thesis, which I had written. So on questioning her about her dreams, so I knew everything about her as a child, but at this time, when she was 19, that didn't fit in, because this girl had evolved so much. She was very, very competitive and very intelligent, and she knew that what she has to do in life, and she was doing her engineering. At the same time, she was a volunteer for Teach India. She had taken up that role as a volunteer. She was very successful with that, and she had applied to foreign universities, and very social, very confident girl, very confident, and very firm about what she knew, what she had to do, and very matured for her age. This was what I saw her, when she came. So as I was questioning her, she had only two complaints, severe hair fall, hair thinning, and irregular menses. So when I took, a history about the hair thinning and menses, there was nothing which was standing out. Then on further questioning, I went to her dreams. And she told me that, there is one frequent dream which keeps bothering her. And she was very open to I said, would you like to explore that dream with me? And she was very open to exploring her dream. And then I facilitated her into the meditative technique which we use. So I relaxed her completely, and we had a rerun of her entire dream. So everything is not verbatim on the slide. I will read it for you. So as I facilitated her into this meditative technique, the patient says, I dream of a jungle. This is the repeated dreams that she has had, in past few months or a year. I dream of a jungle, and there is a path I am walking on. On the other side of the jungle, I see an old man. I can see his footprints, and I am following them. This man is telling me, come, but the other side of the jungle is dark. Don't go in it. I am afraid it could be bad. I know that my friends are there, but I have to take a decision, and I don't take any decision. There is no fear, but I'm afraid of the consequences. What if I never come back? It's not a fear, it's just that what if I don't come back? My family will be worried. But I know that this man is calling me. I can't decide what is stopping me. So as I facilitated her in this session, I asked her, "What is the experience?" She replies that this experience is like a thrill. It's a rush. It's a suspense. I want to meet him. And there is a bird also. Sometimes it is a bird, and sometimes it is a man. And this bird and this man are the same thing. There is a thrill, there is a rush, doing something which is forbidden. The jungle is dense, the jungle is dark. I can't see. There is there is danger, but there is no fear. Nothing. So beautifully she puts it. The thrill, the suspense, the danger, and the excitement, that she wants to meet him. As she goes on, I give her a space to choose her words, to go where she wants to go. She says that I like trekking. If it's dangerous, I am testing my will. I have power to do more. I have achievement, I have pride and satisfaction. Suddenly, then she goes, the trees are beautiful. They are beautiful trees. They are beautiful valleys. I want to do what someone else couldn't do. Painting. Painting is a passion. Passion is falling in love with something it doesn't affect. Now, this patient has given me a lot of keywords that I can work with, but she is swaying away from her path. So I bring her back into the process and I tell her, let's do a process. Let us cross the path to meet the man. So the patient says, I'm trying very hard, but I cannot. So I facilitated the process of meeting this man. And once I want to meet the man, I know that this man holds a message for her. So, what is the message that the old man has for you? So, the patient says that he does not speak, but I know that he is here to teach me some form of art, give me some form of knowledge. And then in the meditation, she breaks down crying and she cries and she cries, and I did not disturb. After she settles down a little, her eyes are completely closed. After she settles down, I ask her that why are you crying and what is the experience of meeting this man? So this patient says that I am in complete awe and in complete reverence. And there is a thrill, a completion. Thank you, doctor. I never thought my dream would ever be complete. And then we leave it to her and leave it to her to absorb this experience. So, how would you think about how do we proceed with the remedy in this case? Give me your feedback. You can just type it down. What would you think? What rubrics would you take? What will you what are the keywords in this case? How much time do we have, Yamini?
5 minutes.
Okay, so we'll proceed fast. Yes, thrill, darkness, art, no fear. Right. So, can we scroll the slides, Yamini? Yes, artistic fine. Want to feel the other. Yeah, so can we come to the themes? Can we come to the themes, the key words and the themes?
This one?
Yeah. So there is a seduction, there is a thrill, there is a suspense, and there is a self-worth. The previous slide, Yamini?
Yeah.
Yeah. So excitement and exhilaration and fright, unpleasant surprises. Yeah, it is column 6, Dr. Upma. It is column 6. So I bottom down to the Libiati family. The thrill, the suspense, the Libiati family. If we can see the PM chart, Dr. Yamini. So it was very clear that it is a case of the Libiati family, the thrill, excitement, suspense. And if you take Dr. Shankran's sensation, we know that, these are all sensations of the Libiati family. So I think it is self-explanatory, this case. It doesn't need any explanation. And, seeing her evolution, according to the evolution model, she belonged to the column 6 and a young adult, no passion. She speaks with passion and suspense and thrill. So, depending the use of the word passionate, and everything about her dream was exploration, excitement, and pleasure. So, I found that when I was facilitating her case, her expressions. So otherwise, I would have not come to the Libiati family if I would have not done this process with her. So the remedy I prescribed for her was lycopus, and she did exceedingly well on this remedy, exceedingly well, and all her complaints went away. So, any questions on that? I have a lot of cases like these, where whether what image I had about the patient, the view, but coming to this unprejudiced view, it's completely different. What is lying in the subconscious. So this is a summary of the Libiati, the excitement which runs right through the family, and it can be pleasant and the feeling of being overwhelmed and passionate. So her dream was all self-explanatory. Any questions in this? Otherwise, physicals, I didn't get anything about that. If I would have gone, if I wanted to do, uh, you know, uh, a not meditative approach for her, I would have not come to this remedy. So I think, are we to the end of this lecture? Any views, any thoughts, any interactions? Any questions which if we have time, I will answer. It's been a wonderful sharing with all of you. Homeopathy is such that we can just go on and love to share and love to learn.
So I guess, Dr. Gutti, that was amazing session, and I want to express our heartfelt
Yeah, so thank you, Yamini. I want to thank you and Dr. Weber for this lovely opportunity to reach out. Yeah,
Thanks
so
a
I'll,
lot.
I'll
We are
take.
very fortunate, and thanks for accepting this invite. It was a great session. We have learned a lot of new insights about the brain waves and meditative techniques, and how we can integrate and blend together with homeopathy to get better results.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a beautiful learning for all of us.
So,
So,
Dr. Upma is asking that can we see a process, or or maybe the questions to how to guide the patient in the meditative technique itself.
Yeah. So, we don't have to push the patient. You have to be very, very patient with the patient, extremely
Right.
patient.
Mhm.
And, the patient, it is like, there is an inner knowing. The patient knows it all. Our inner self knows it all. We just have to create that space,
Mhm.
for the patient to unveil what is there inside. As they say, na, homeopathy is an art and a science.
Yes.
Yes, so we have to use our artistic touch and be patient. The process will go on its own. We don't have to do much.
Mhm.
But yes, if the patient drifts, we have to bring him and ask the right question. But when they come up with something, the best question is that put your entire attention to this.
Mhm.
If the patient is in pain, we say that put your entire attention to this pain.
Okay.
So we can work in that manner.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Okay. So thank you so much, and thanks to all the people who have joined us. It was really wonderful having you and having Dr. Good Day together. Thanks a lot, and we'll definitely
thank
meet
you so
you
much.
with new speaker very soon.